Well, good morning. I'm King County Executive Dow Constantine. I have to say it feels a little odd to be here together in person. Thank you for maintaining a safe distance in this very large space in which we're meeting today at King County Elections. Today, King County begins to mail general election ballots to our 1.4 million registered voters. Our message to you is this: vote early, and have confidence that your vote will be counted accurately and promptly. We have some of the most forward-looking election laws in the nation. We have in-person registration all the way through Election Day, pre-registration for 16 and 17-year-olds, automatic voter registration for enhanced driver licenses. And 2 years ago, I was proud to stand in this building with Director Julie Wise to announce that I would transmit to the King County Council a supplemental budget so that we could provide prepaid postage for every ballot in King County. And I'll remind you that that ultimately led to prepaid postage on ballots statewide. Right now, all of King County government is focused on having a successful election in 20 days. Our King County Information Technology provides tools and services to the Elections Department. And we have a cybersecurity team that works closely with the state's experts as well as with the FBI and with Homeland Security to detect and defeat any potential threats. Our Election Department tabulation system requires biometric access, and it is completely separate from the state system, which protects both our county system and the state system from potential attacks. For those who prefer to drop off their ballot instead of putting it in the U.S. mail, we have ballot drop boxes, secure boxes located throughout King County, and Julie will be able to tell you more about that. But you can also track your ballot to find out where exactly it is in the process. You're able to do that online to make sure that your ballot has been received, that it's been opened and verified, and that it's been counted. It has been difficult to coordinate such an intense election, really the election of a lifetime. We're expecting a record turnout, and here we are in the midst of a global pandemic. But the folks here at Elections are geared up and ready to go, and I really want to thank Director Julie Wise and her outstanding team for preparing for this record-setting count. It's been really difficult to see the images of people across the country where in-person voting, early voting has already begun. People standing in lines, long lines for hours and hours at a time just to exercise their most fundamental right as an American, the right to vote. You saw the scenes in Georgia this week. In Texas, the governor's limited the number of drop boxes to 1 per county, including a single drop box for Harris County, the county where Houston is, a county that is twice the size of King County. Imagine 4.7 million people. Imagine all the voters in that county having access to just 1 drop box. And we continue to see attempts to limit the ability of people who need to vote by mail in places where they do not yet have universal vote by mail. But you know, while those images are striking, I think we should all be heartened by the fact that people are so committed to exercising the franchise, so committed to playing their part in setting the direction for our nation. As ballots go out, we do get a chance to exercise that franchise. We do get a chance to have our say in what our nation will become. Each one of us, through our vote, has our hand on the tiller of the ship of state. From president to governor to state legislators and other races, we will decide the future direction of our community and our nation. I think I speak for a lot of us when I say, I cannot wait. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you the Elections Director for King County, Julie Wise.
Good morning and welcome to King County Elections. Thank you, Executive Constantine, for your kind words and your ongoing support for King County elections. It is really, truly wonderful to have you all here at Elections Headquarters today. As you may know, today is the day that nearly 1.4 million ballots will head out in the mail to our registered voters across the county. Here in King County, we are challenging our voters to reach 90% turnout for this election, a record-breaking turnout. And it is here on our secure second floor where we will process those nearly 1.3 million ballots returned from our voters. As some of the conversation around vote by mail nationally has been, I'll say, skeptical, we know the truth here in King County, that vote by mail is safe, it's accessible, and it's a secure way to vote. I've been with King County elections for 20 years. I've held nearly every job here within the department over that time. I've worked polling place elections. I was here for the transition to vote by mail, and I've worked with the most incredible state and nationally certified election administrators. They work every single day to ensure that we have accessible, secure, and accurate elections. That means safe and secure in a flood, during a snowpocalypse, and in the midst of a global pandemic. It is possible. We've done it. And here in King County, we know that we are ready for anything this election is going to throw our way. Voters should start to see their ballots by Friday, and we expect that every single voter should have their ballot in hand by Monday, October 19th. If you do not receive your ballot by then, please contact King County Elections at 206-296-VOTE or head onto our website. I know that many of our voters are anxious about this election. We have heard from folks who are concerned about changes at the United States Postal Service and who are worried about their ballot getting to them with enough time to cast their vote and return it to us. We have worked with the United States Postal Service for a decade now, and we have built a strong relationship with our local USPS representatives, whom we meet with daily during the election. In the August primary, we saw normal delivery times for our voters on those outgoing ballots. In fact, 99.96% of our voters received their ballot within the 5-day mailing period. I am confident that the United States Postal Service will get ballots delivered and back to the elections office in a timely manner. One change we've made in the way that we mail our ballots is we've added an intelligent mail barcode to the return envelopes. While we have long tracked data delivery time on the outgoing ballots, this new feature allows us to track individual ballots through the mail system and identify any points of concern. It means that when a voter calls to say, I mailed my ballot to you all a week ago and I don't see that you've received it, we can check this barcode for when it is expected back into our office and put that voter's mind at ease. Another great way to return your ballot and to get it back in our hands is by utilizing one of those 73 ballot drop boxes. When I took office in 2016, we had just 10 drop boxes for the entire county. Over the last 4 years, my team and I have worked hard to expand drop boxes in nearly every community in our county. In fact, just last month, we installed new drop boxes at the Carnation and Black Diamond libraries to better serve our rural voters in those areas. Drop boxes open tomorrow, October 15th, and are going to remain open 24/7 until 8 p.m. sharp on Election Day, November 3rd. And when that clock strikes 8, those boxes will close. Our drop boxes are steel tanks. For a lack of a better comparison, they are constructed of half-inch thick steel, weighing in at over 1,000 pounds. They are bolted into concrete with steel rods, and they're just about impenetrable. There are no outer pry points, there are multiple locking mechanisms, and we equip them with tamper-evident seals. Once your ballot goes into a King County drop box, it's not coming out until our staff are going to empty it. Whether returning your ballot by mail or by drop box, it is incredibly important to know to vote early. Do not wait until Election Day. We are expecting lines at those drop boxes as that last-minute rush heats up. We hear from voters every single election that they would have been on time if things had just gone a little differently in that day. It is heartbreaking to us to not be able to count a vote because it came in too late. We know that the voter spends time filling out their ballot, once even they spent time getting registered, and we want to count your vote. Don't risk your vote by waiting until the last minute. We also work tirelessly to protect the integrity and the security of our elections here in King County. And we know that election security is not an item for which you can check a box and be done. We have to be vigilant and on guard every single day. Here at King County Elections, I have a dedicated IT team complete with staff who specialize in cybersecurity. After the 2016 election and the known unsuccessful attempts to hack Washington's election systems, I was the first election administrator in our state to invite the state auditor's cybersecurity team to conduct a robust audit to our cyber practices and protocols. Our systems, our emails, are all monitored 24/7, 365 for threats, phishing, ransom, and malware. Our tabulation server, where all the votes are stored, is air-gapped on a hardwired network and not connected to the internet. In order to penetrate the tabulation server, someone would have to get into our building, up on this secure second floor, into the secure server room, which requires a badge from an authorized employee, along with a matching fingerprint, before they would even attempt to tamper with the results. Even if somehow, some way, someone managed to do that, being vote by mail means that we have a paper trail to go back to. We can go back and recount our ballots and update our results. On the physical security side, we benefit greatly from having a facility that was specifically designed to process vote by mail ballots. Before we moved into this building, we took it completely down to the studs and rebuilt it from the ground up, utilizing the expertise of security consultants, including those who do security for casinos. There are more than 50 security cameras located throughout the building, monitoring 24 hours a day. The secure storage cage that we're standing in front of goes all the way up to the roof and all the way to the concrete ground. This is where we store the ballots that we are not currently processing. Access to this secure storage cage, like the tabulation server room, is limited and requires both a badge and matching fingerprint to get into. You'll also notice that there are web cameras placed throughout the ballot processing floor. These are for the public to watch us at work. They are located in every area where we handle live ballots and are accessible for anyone via our website. This year, we have upgraded our cameras, both the hardware and the streaming resolution, to make it easier to see us processing ballots from the safety of your home. We are doing everything that we can here in King County to keep our elections both secure and accessible. We're ready, and we want our voters to be too. When they see their ballots later this week, voters should make a plan, vote early, track your ballot, and reach out to us directly if you have any questions or concerns. Again, our phone number is 206-296-VOTE, and we are here to help. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Executive Constantine and I will now take questions.
One of the things that we are seeing talked about, and perhaps even seen in other parts of the country, are armed citizens going to polling places to keep watch in some way. We don't have many polling places here, but we do have some locations, and we have all these drop boxes. Is there any plan or any message to armed citizen groups that might decide that they just need to watch over the election?
Well, the first message is we have an extremely secure election system, and anyone who is legitimately concerned about protecting the sanctity of the ballot, they need to understand that this system is second to none in terms of protecting the integrity of your vote. But second, if people are using that alleged concern as an excuse to go out and try to intimidate people, to keep them from voting, we are going to do anything within our power, anything legally possible to intervene and protect the voters' right to cast their ballot. We have been working with the governor's office and others on, in general, concerns about what we're seeing in other states with people trying to either intimidate voters or threatening to take to the streets if they are not pleased with the outcome of the election. And I think that here in Washington, we need to really reinforce our regional commitment, the regional character we have, that we, despite our differences of opinion, are all in this together. And that the way in which we are going to cast our vote in favor of America is to protect the right of every person, regardless of their perspective, to participate in our democracy. Remember that there are places in this country where the election is going to be much closer. You can see from the polling here, as well as the results from 2016, that's very likely to be a lopsided outcome in Washington State, and particularly in King County. So there will not be a lot of concern about some sort of uncertainty around the outcome here. And that uncertainty, I think, may be the excuse that people need in other places to go out into the streets and try to sow confusion.
Question for
Director Wise, what are the state laws around people being around ballot boxes, drop boxes, and potentially intimidating voters?
There's no electioneering. I believe it's within 25 feet of the actual drop box itself. We anticipate and expect and are welcoming the political party observers at our drop boxes and our vote centers. We've been working really closely with both the political parties to have that presence there. We think that that is really important and critical to democracy, to make sure that we have transparency over those processes. So we've been working close with the parties, and we will anticipate and expect to have political party observers at each of the drop boxes, each of the vote centers, and here at our elections facility. What I'll also say is that we will also have plainclothes security out at our drop boxes as well, and we have been working with the Sheriff's Office and with our Office of Emergency Management and the Executive's Office in preparation to make sure that we don't have anyone or anything that keeps our voters away from being able to have their voice heard and from that ballot box. Like we see each presidential election, right, is that we'll see attorneys and observers come to King County to watch the election processes. I haven't specifically talked to any attorneys from the political parties yet at this point. I anticipate that that will be coming, but again, working very closely with both of the parties here in Washington State to ensure that we have them observing those processes and providing that level of transparency and providing access. King County regularly sees high voter turnout. In fact, Washington State is usually in the top 10 voter turnout in the country. And so it is typical for King County to show up at a presidential election about 80%, even as much as 85%, like we saw in our 2012 presidential election. And so I think a realistic number for turnout is about 86%, but we felt like we could challenge the voters of King County and that they could rise to the occasion and turn out at 90%. It provides an opportunity for us to do some messaging around making a vote plan. We really want to encourage voters to get ahead of the election. They can already look up and figure out how they want to vote. They can read more about the candidates and the issues. I'll note that here in King County, it's going to be a lengthy ballot. It is 18 inches long and it is double-sided, so we think it's important for people to make a vote plan. But we really believe that we've got this. We as election administrators have got this. We've been working for years to prepare for this election. We know that our United States Postal Service partners have this, and we know that our voters have this, and that they're going to show up, and they're going to show up on time. And that's why we believe we can challenge our voters with a 90% turnout.
And what makes you confident the Postal Service will be able to do this on time? They did have a very well-documented slowdown over the summer, including here in Washington State.
Say that one more time for me.
They did have a very well-documented slowdown in mail delivery. As far as we can tell, a lot of the mail processing machines in various centers of Washington State have not been connected. What sort of assurances have you got?
I'm confident in the United States Postal Service's ability to get ballots to our voters and back to them for a few different reasons. One, because the data shows us just in the primary that we had in August. Again, with 99.96% of our voters receiving ballots within 5 days. The intelligent mail barcode, us being able to the ballot, to the voter, be tracking as that ballot makes its way to our voters and back to us. We're going to know when and where there's an issue if the one arises so that we can work with our partners. Also, the reason why I'm confident is because we've built a decade-long relationship with the local partners here for the United States Postal Service. They've reassured me that any of the equipment that has been removed was aging equipment and that they have no slowdown or have no reason why they would be able to delay mail in any manner whatsoever. I think what's also really critically important to recognize is the United States Postal Service delivers 433 million pieces of mail a day. 433 million pieces of mail a day, and that's not even during the holiday season. So our 1.4 million ballots into the election system on one day isn't an issue for them. And I'm confident that they'll rise to the occasion just like they have for the past decade of vote-by-mail elections. And of course, voters can call us. The great thing here about in Washington State is that we've got contingency plans. We've got other options for voters. That's what I love about our election system. We have vote centers. We'll have 6 huge event-style centers across the county that voters can go to. If you don't have your ballot in hand, you can go onto the website and print off a replacement. So there are so many options for our voters. And if they don't want to use the mail to return it, they certainly can use our drop boxes or our vote centers.
Dr. Weiss, it says that no attempts to tamper with elections have been successful here in King County. I'm just curious what, if any, have been attempted here in previous elections and what those look like.
Thank you so much for that question. It was around hacking attempts and concerns around cybersecurity. We have not personally here at King County have had attempts. We know that the Secretary of State's office in Washington State in 2016 and that the governor just a few weeks back talked about concern on a national level of state agencies. Those hacks were not successful. As I said, though, it is every single day to make sure that our systems are secure. We're training our staff here to be vigilant, and we make sure with our great IT team that we have the luxury of having here at King County Elections that have 2 cybersecurity experts on hand, that we're constantly managing and keeping our system secure. Making sure that we have a tabulation system that's not connected to the internet is key to that. Also, what's key is that when you go to our vote centers, there aren't machines that are going to be taking your votes on a memory card that we're going to upload. Every single thing has a paper copy that we can go back to. And we do a slew of audits in this building as well when they're in the election cycle, right? We're going to test the tabulation system and show and demonstrate that it works to you all just next week in our logic and accuracy test. We're going to test again during the election, and in fact, we're going to count 20,000 ballots by hand, a manual recount, just to make sure that we're auditing our system and ensuring that it's actually working correctly.
The recount can be as you go or after the
The manual hand recount audit part of it is right during the middle of that election. I believe it's about a week after.
Any more questions?
Director Wise, while the tabulation system is not connected to the internet, reporting the votes to the public relies on the internet. How can you be sure that won't be interfered with or delayed in some way?
Such a great question. We have a lot of contingencies around results reporting. That, of course, is a key component for us. We want to make sure that we're producing meaningful results on election night. And so we have various different ways and where we're going to post those results. So when we leave the tabulation server and we bring those results to a computer that actually is connected to the internet, we're going to upload those results to the Secretary of State's website. We're also going to upload those to the King County Elections website. And we're going to do them in multiple different platforms, right? We're going to use a PDF, and we're also going to have it just right there on the website. So we'll be checking and vetting and making sure that those numbers are correct and accurate. Of course, that is part of our vigilance around security, is ensuring that our website is also secure and that it can be handle lots and lots of voters looking for results come election night. So we'll have it in multiple places, multiple formats in which we can protect and safeguard the results of that information, and again, comparing the data and make sure that they're accurate. Thank you all so much for being here. Really, really appreciate it.